So we live in the South. I preface that because we do a lot of Mexican food in our house because we live in the South. Well, we live in Texas. Also, I love breakfast, but I never wake up hungry, and so I don't tend to eat breakfast unless we do breakfast for dinner. So I've decided to take my two favorite things, Mexican food and breakfast, and combine them. So today we're going to make breakfast enchiladas. So I'm going to start with 2 pounds of turkey sausage, turkey breakfast sausage. And we're going to turn our flame on medium, and we're going to just brown the sausage. So I got to break it up and let it cook. And this should take about 5-6 minutes. And we use turkey sausage, but you can use any kind of sausage you like. We just don't eat a lot of pork in this house, unless it's bacon. So we're really going to let this cook and then kind of stir it around as needed. So we're going to let this brown for a few more minutes. I'm going to turn the heat up a little. And then I have, over here, 20 eggs that I've cracked that I'm going to stir. I'm just going to whisk together. Because when our sausage is done, we're going to pour eggs in so we can get the eggs nice and seasoned with the flavor of the sausage. And my scrambled eggs, I like to add a little bit of cream, heavy cream. I think it makes them taste lighter and fluffier. So usually I do a splash. Since we have so many eggs, I'm going to do 1/2 cup of heavy whipping cream. Now our sausage is seasoned already, otherwise I would add flavoring to it. But since I got one mild and one medium. All right, it's going to sit there while we wait on the sausage to finish browning. All right, we've got a couple more minutes on the sausage, and then we're going to drain it, which really is just a colander over the sink and letting all of the grease come out, because while the grease is good to cook in a little of it, all of that grease is going to make your enchiladas like really, really messy. So we don't want so much grease. So our turkey sausage is perfectly browned. I'm going to turn off the heat, and then I'm going to drain it, and then we'll be back. So our sausage is drained. Now I'm going to add that scrambled egg or whisked eggs and heavy cream mixture. Oh, I saw a whole egg yolk in there. Apparently I missed one in my whisking. And we're just going to stir this until the eggs are cooked. And when I'm making it this much egg mixture of any kind, I don't like to stop stirring because then it gets hard and crunchy, and that's not a good scrambled eggs. So I'm just going to keep stirring. All right, so our eggs are fully scrambled and combined with our turkey sausage. Now I'm going to turn the heat off. Now, I have a can of what I guess you guys would call Rotel. We call it in the South. I didn't buy Rotel, but it's just tomatoes, diced tomatoes and green chilies. And they sell it in mild, medium, and hot. I got the mild because I have children who don't like a whole lot of spice. You can also just use chunky salsa if you want. I did drain the can so that I didn't have a whole lot more liquid in here. And then I have 2 cups of a Mexican blend of cheeses. I'm going to add in, off the heat. And then we're just going to set this aside to cool while we make our cheese sauce. So here is our enchilada filling. Now, in my large pot, on medium heat again, I'm going to melt 1/4 cup of butter. We're going to make a roux. And a roux is just a combination of equal parts butter and flour. So we're going to melt the butter, and then we're going to add 1/4 cup of flour. So the butter's fully melted. Now I'm going to add my 1/4 cup of flour. And whisk them together until it's like a paste. Is that pretty paste? Now I have 2 cups of whole milk. We're going to whisk that together. And let it start to thicken just a little. This should take a minute or two, not very long. Okay, so our mixture of milk, butter, and flour has thickened. Now we're going to add our cheese. I have 4 cups of that Mexican blend cheese. I'm going to turn the heat down because we don't want to burn our queso. Basically what we're making is queso. We're going to let our cheese melt fully. And if it gets too thick, just add some more milk. It'll thin it out real quick. I'm going to add a 10-ounce can of the same diced tomatoes and green chilies. And stir it in. Meanwhile, I've preheated my oven to 350 degrees, and now it is time to assemble our enchiladas. That's how fast the cheese sauce sets up. You don't need much more than that. Okay, so I have corn tortillas. Now I'm just going to take a spoonful of my mixture. I like really stuffed enchiladas, so don't be surprised. And then we're going to put them seam side down in our casserole dish. And we're going to do this until our filling is gone and or our casserole dish is full, because if I have to make a second dish, I mean, that's fine. But I'll put the first one in the oven so you can see what it looks like. This can be made ahead of time. You can make the whole thing and then freeze it. And when you're ready, pop it out. It'll take about an hour to heat up. Leave it covered, otherwise your cheese on the top is going to get gross. It'll get burnt. And this is just a fun activity to make my husband crazy. So I do some going one way and then some going the other, because that's how my casserole dish is designed. But it really makes him crazy when he goes to cut them. And my last one, so I have this little piece in the corner that doesn't fully take one enchilada. So I take one and split it in half and stick it in that corner. So it's not the most beautiful thing, but it covers all of the bottom of the pan. Now I take my queso, I'm going to spoon it over the top. You want to make sure you get every little piece of tortilla covered. And I use corn tortillas in this because I really like corn tortillas in enchiladas. But if you don't, feel free to use flour tortillas. They work the same. just need to make sure everything is covered. Okay, so my queso is covered, all of the enchiladas. And now I have 2 more cups of cheese. Yes, this is a cheese heavy recipe. But I'm just going to sprinkle over the top. I may only need 1 cup of the cheese. Yep, just 1. Now we're going to bake this in a 350-degree oven for about an hour, and then we'll be back. So our first pan that you guys watched me make made 13 enchiladas. The second one made 12. So we have a total of 25. And we cooked them for about an hour. And here we are, and we're done.